community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
At Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic, they believe in promoting healthier living through compassionate quality care. From state-of-the-art maternity care to life-saving emergency services, their dedicated team is there for you and your family. Whether it's managing diabetes, navigating recovery, or receiving specialized treatments, they're committed to your well-being. Discover the difference a community-focused hospital can make. Visit rayhospital.org today to learn more. Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic. Your health, our priority.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The insurance agency. Insurance the way it should be.
Hey, it's the second annual Kiss Dance. Kids, invite someone special.
It's Sunday, April 19th from 2 to 4 at the City Limits Convention Center.
Kids K through 5, invite someone special. An adult can have more than one date.
$20 per paying adult at the door. Money helps the Colby High School 2027 prom.
DJ, snacks, photos, prom decorations, dancing, and fun. See you there. Visit nwksradio.net for more information.
Drips, clanks, chills, or swelters? Call the team that's been fixing it all since before your grandpa had a thermostat. McClure's Plumbing and Heating in downtown Goodland has been keeping things flowing and blowing for 95 years and counting. From pesky leaks to full-blown HVAC heroics, they're your hometown pros with nearly a century of know-how. Call McClure's Plumbing and Heating at 890-2208. That's 890-2208. And make your home comfy again, the old school way. Done right.
Need a porta potty or septic pumping in Northwest Kansas? Call Topside Portables and Pumping, your local family-owned crew. They've got clean, reliable toilets for weddings, farms, and job sites, plus full septic services, RV waste, fertilizer tanks, and more. Available 24/7, because when nature calls, they answer. Call 785-728-8089. That's 728-8089. Topside Portables and Pumping. Reliable, local, clean.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
I'm old, I'm white, and I don't understand any of it.
The High Plains only local sports talk show, broadcasting live on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 and video streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Sky is everywhere.
Covering it all from the preps to the pros.
Right side throw, touchdown! Kansas City!
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank, along with
Pestaway LLC, Topside Portables and Pumping, Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell, and the Insurance Agency.
Let's go to work.
Ball chopped over there, high hop over the behind short, flip to second, the throw on to first. It's in time, a double play. Chris Glass getting over there near the second base pack, probably should have just ran and stepped on second himself and said glove flipped it to Deegan Knox, who quickly made the turn on to first to Joseph Von Linnell, and it's a double play ball. And
through the cold, through the wind, and Carter Jensen has another line drive home run to right.
First pitch swinging, Moniak. A deep drive to right. It is gone! Just into the bullpen. Moniak's third in as many days, and the Rockies double their lead. It's 5-1.
Here is Owens, who looks to squeeze, and a beautiful bunt laid down. Coming in to score is Williams to give the Cowboys the lead.
And now the Amps force another mistake. McKinnon throws it towards the net. Rebound, they score! It's a Marty party! Marty Natchez on the extended zone time in the blue zone gets his 37th goal of the season.
And good Wednesday morning, everybody, here on April the 8th. Glad you decided to join us on the Morning Blitz here on Rocket 102.5 KLOE, NWKSradio.net, and the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Thank you so much for tuning in here on this Wednesday.
nice, calm Wednesday, weather-wise at least. Still cool. Temperature sitting around the mid-40s, so warmer than yesterday for sure. After a warm and breezy day yesterday, a little bit cooler morning here this morning, and we'll have temperatures up into the mid-70s here on this Wednesday with, once again, the chances of precipitation moving closer. Maybe a chance of rain tomorrow, a very slight chance before Thursday night with a good chance of rain, over 70%. Chance of rain on Friday and Saturday and even on Sunday. And heck, going even further, there's a chance of it all the way until Tuesday of next week. Maybe we'll catch one of those rain showers here on the high plains. Sure would be nice. There's some areas that desperately could need it, particularly up north of us here in Goodland and kind of around where the Kansas, Colorado, Nebraska states kind of touch have been really, really dry, and some other areas as well around the listening region. So really hoping we're going to catch some of this rain coming down the pipe. So it says from the National Weather Service. We will see. But hope everyone's having a good start to your Wednesday. A busy show ahead here. We'll have Nick Athen, our good friend from Chiefs Bliss, join us coming up in segment 2. We'll talk all different things with Nick. We'll talk some Chiefs news, some NFL news, maybe some NFL draft. We'll also touch on his Kansas Jayhawk basketball team, which is in shambles right now. I don't know if nobody returns from the portal that's at Kansas. I mean, it's going to be a whole new team next year for Bill Self. It's looking like that. Minus maybe Cole Rosario. That might be the only Jayhawk left standing, minus a great group of freshmen. But that's what's looking ahead. We'll visit with Nick Athen coming up here on today's program. We've got lots of just little things to hit on today's show, both in segment number 1 and segment number 3, in a very fascinating situation in just the world of college athletics and what's happening at Tennessee with their women's college basketball program. So we'll get to all that today on today's program. As always, your participation is always welcome at 785-899-2222. That is the FNB Bank text line where you can be a part of the show. You can send in your thoughts, your questions, your comments, opinions, whatever it may be. Love to hear from you throughout the next 45 plus minutes here on this Wednesday edition of the Morning Blitz. Like I said, we got lots to get to today. No real big topics, but just lots of little things to hit on after a very busy day, particularly on the local sports side of things. And best way to do that, I always find, is with the front page.
Read all about it. Read all about it.
The top stories of today.
I got the early edition, hot off the press.
It's the front page on the Morning Blitz.
Front page, really?
As I mentioned yesterday, a very busy day in local sports, particularly on the baseball diamond. There was a lot of action happening. We'll start with the good news. Congratulations, the Goodland Cowgirls softball team. They pick up their first couple wins of the season as they take down Hugoton in 2 games yesterday over at Ray Dye Field at Centennial Park. Cowgirls winning game 1 4-0 and following that up with an extra inning victory 11-10 to take down Hugoton and get to 2-2 on the very young season. Game 1, a stellar performance from the lady in the circle. That would be Allie Cure, who went the complete game through, just gave up 5 hits, not a run, just 1 walk, and 14 strikeouts. I'm not 110% sure, but I feel pretty confident that is a personal record for strikeouts in the circle in a single game for Allie Cure. I might be wrong on that, but I think that is a record for her, as she was fantastic yesterday. Just absolutely fantastic in game number 1, a complete game, 5-hitter with 14 strikeouts, leads the way. Offensively, she was big as well, had a couple of hits and an RBI. Lisa Rickard had an RBI and runs scored as well. That was Natalie Cure had 2 hits and RBI. Allie Cure had 2 hits and a run scored. Also had a triple in that win. So Cowgirls getting it done in game number 1, thanks to Allie Cure in the circle shutting down the Hugoton offense. And then in game number 2, pretty solid performance, I'd say, overall from second pitcher, if you want to call it that, or the number 2 starter for the Cowgirls in Caden Smith, as she goes out there and strikes out a career high. I think it was 9. Yes, 9 in 7 innings, but did give up 10 runs, 8 of them earned on 17 hits, mixed in with those 9 strikeouts. But the Cowgirl offense was up for the task, particularly Alyssa Rickard, 5 for 5, 4 RBIs, and 3 runs scored for the Cowgirls' senior second baseman. She was big with the bat yesterday. Allie Cure had another 2 hits and a couple runs scored. Kaylee Glover gets in there and had one of her better performances of her career, did the senior, 2 for 5 with 3 runs scored, a 3 RBI day for Ellie Everett in game 2. So the Cowgirls' bats picking up the slack in game number 2 to help out their pitcher. They did get out hit 20-17, but they played clean and get an 11-10 victory. And so the Cowgirls with a sweep of Hugoton, 4-0 and 11-10 in 8 innings, the final scores yesterday. And the Cowgirls now 2-2 overall, 2-2 to begin GWAC League play. They have a non-conference game coming up here on Thursday at home, taking on 6A Garden City. In fact, the next couple of games are quite challenging. They take on Garden City Thursday and then follow that up with a Monday road game at Hayes TMP. Speaking of Hayes TMP, both their baseball and softball teams were in Colby yesterday, where it was a tough day to be an Eagle, especially on the diamond. A combined 0-4 day for Colby baseball and Lady Eagle softball yesterday. The baseball team dropped its 3rd and 4th games of the season, getting swept by Hayes TMP. The Eagles lost 10-1 in game number 1 and then fell 12-5 in the second game. And that now gives the Eagles 4 consecutive losses after a season-opening sweep of Goodland in dominant fashion. They have lost 4 in a row to 2 very good programs, Russell Victoria as well as Hayes TMP. The Eagle bats really struggling in the last couple of games to produce anything and back up their pitchers. But baseball losing their 3rd and 4th in a row for Colby High School yesterday to Hayes TMP. And then the Lady Eagle softball team, they were unbeaten, 6-0 going into yesterday's doubleheader against TMP, and they were handed their first losses of the season. They lose 12-2 in game number 1 and then 15-3 in game number 2. When you look at the final numbers from these games, the big thing was for the first time this season, the Lady Eagle bats were kind of silenced, held to just 9 total hits over the course of the 2-game series. 9 hits, 5 runs, just 5 runs batted in. They did have a couple of homers, another one by Morgan Hill. She has 3 on the season now. But after and then striking out, a lot of unfortunate Ks. I don't want to say unfortunate, but a lot of Ks had 20 strikeouts. Did the Colby Lady Eagles just really struggle hitting with runners on in the game? It's the first, you look at the batting average for Colby through their first 6 wins of the year. 321 was the lowest, all the way up to 500 they hit against Russell back on April 2nd. But yesterday, just 192 and 211 respectively across the doubleheader against Hayes TMP. So TMP's pitching really baffled the Lady Eagles, and because of it, they were handed their first losses. Once again, 12-2 and 15-3. Lady Eagles now sit at 6-2 on the season, but that does not impact what is still their perfect league record, as the Lady Eagles sit at what is 2-0 to begin GWAC conference play. So, like I said, busy day on the diamond in Colby, as well as for Goodland. The Goodland Cowboy baseball team was down on the road at Hugoton yesterday. Cowboys earning a split with the Eagles. Game 1 was highly entertaining. The Cowboys were up early, had a nice little lead there in that first game, and then Hugoton rallying. I think it was in the 4th. I'll pull up my box score here real quickly. Yeah, rallying. Goodland up 3-0 going into the 4th inning, and Hugoton puts up 4 runs in the home half of the 4th, take a 4-3 lead. Goodland didn't waste much time, got back on top with a couple of runs in the 5th, but then Hugoton would take the lead or tie the game up in the bottom of the 5th and then take the lead, what was 6-5 in the bottom of the 6th. So the Cowboys going into the final frame needed to score 1 run to extend or multiple runs to take the lead, and they did just that. They get 3 runs in the top of the 7th, and then they get a goose egg at the bottom of the 7th inning to give the Cowboys an 8-6 victory over Hugoton. The Cowboys out-hit the Eagles 12-9 in game 1 and were definitely better with the errors. Only had 2 compared to Hugoton's 4. It was a great performance from Caleb Williams in game number 1. The junior lefty got the win, 6 1/3, 9 hits, 6 runs, 5 earned, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts through 107 pitches. Almost went the distance, just ran out of pitches to throw. And Deegan Knox came in and was very quick to get the final 2 outs. It only took him 6 pitches as the Cowboys get a Game 1 victory. And also, by the way, Caleb Williams, great with the bat. 4 for 4, 3 runs scored, and 4 RBIs. Hitting well above 400 is Caleb Williams after that performance there. And then in game number 2, pitching was a struggle for pitching for the Cowboys. Reed Cure unfortunately struggled with his command again, only going an inning and 2/3 and walking 6. Also hit a couple of batters and gave up 6 unearned runs. But the Cowboy bats were there to pick him up early on. The game was actually tied 6-all going into the top of the 3rd when Goodland took a 9-6 lead, and things kind of settled in a little bit for both teams, and it would be a 9-6 lead all the way until the bottom of the 5th when Hugoton would put up 4 runs there and then 3 more unanswered runs in the bottom of the 6th. Cowboys got a run back in the 7th, but not enough, and Goodland loses 13-10. Cowboys still out hit the Eagles 13-9, but did struggle with some errors, committed 5 to my total to Hugoton's 3. Reed Cure did make up for his tough performance on the mound with a great performance at the plate in game 2. 3 hits, a run scored, 4 RBIs. Brody Meyer, who continues to swing a very confident bat, does the freshman, went 2 for 5 with a couple of RBIs in that game 2. Adrian Pacheco also good, 2 for 3 with 3 runs scored for the Cowboys. But Deegan Knox took the loss, pitched really hard, had to probably one of his longer outings of the season. He went the complete game against Burlington, but 4 1/3, 7 runs, 3 of them earned, but 7 walks and 2 strikeouts. And that was the biggest stat, I think, of that game 2 loss to Hugoton was 14 walks and 3 hit batters. 17 times a Hugoton player got on base without having to hit the ball. And so that's always tough when you give up that many free passes. And the Eagles took advantage of those over the course of that game 2, 13-10 victory. But Goodland with the split. That was actually their first loss to Hugoton. They'd won 9 in a row with the 1 win yesterday, but they did not make it to 10 in a row as Hugoton gets a win there. They've got some nice young players there to the Eagles, some freshmen that are contributing quite well and going to be some good players for them going forward in the years to come. I was impressed by some of the young players for Hugoton, but nonetheless, a split. Cowboys now 2-6 overall, and also just 1-3 to begin GWAC play. Goodland now has, I think, a 10-day span where there's no games. Great chance to get back in the lab, work on some bullpens, as Coach Avalar said. Continue to work with the bats. But once again, as I said post game, visiting with Coach Austin Avalar, watching this team in game 1 against Colby to watching them where they are right now here in just a matter of a couple weeks, it's a very improved product. And they're playing better every time they get out on the field, whether it be a little bit defensively, a little bit in the pitching department. It's definitely a lot better hitting. That's for sure, ever since game 1. And we'll see if that continues to be the trend here over the next couple of weeks. They have their next game coming up, but it'll be a week from this Friday. Yeah, a week from Friday, they will host Decatur Community at Centennial Park here in Goodland. Still a few more stops on the front page. How about some golf yesterday up in St. Francis? The St. Francis Indians defending their home course at Riverside Golf and Country Club. They take home the first place spot at the St. Francis Invitational. Shot a 353 combined team score. That was 9 strokes better than Goodland, who finished in second. Rollins County coming in third, followed by Decatur Community and Greeley County in the 4-5 spots. St. Francis led by Joe Gilliland and Carter Matthews, who went 3rd and 4th respectively, shooting 79 and 82. Braxton Mangan was the top scorer on the individual leaderboard. He finished from Tribune Greeley County. He was +3, 73. Cohen Owen with a +9, 79 for Decatur Community to finish in second place. Goodland, who finished in second, their top couple of golfers, all finished kind of right around just outside the top 10, led by Paxton Neitzel, who shot a 19 over 89. Bo Weibel finished right behind him with a 90. Brody Slosher with a 91, Treston Mai with a 92, and Carter Yost with a 93. They went 11 through 15 to the Goodland Cowboy golfers yesterday, but it is once again St. Francis taking home the top spot at their own invitational yesterday up there at Riverside Golf and Country Club. All right, we're on the front page here on the Morning Blitz. Next stop, how about a little Major League Baseball update? A split between the Royals and the Rockies yesterday. The Rockies are hot, if you want to call it that. The Rockies pick up another win over the Houston Astros. 5-1, they get it done last night. Kyle Freeland looking like the ace the Rockies hoped he would be here early on. Picks up the win, 6 1/3, 3 hits, just 1 run. It was earned with 1 walk and 5 strikeouts. He did give up a home run, but he was really good. And then Antonio Senzatella comes in for the long save through 2 2/3. Didn't give up a hit and struck out 3. The Rockies pitching has looked very good here early on this season, and offensively getting it done. Big day for Willie Castro, who's out there with a 3-hit game and 3 RBIs. He had his first homer of the season. Mickey Moniak with his 3rd long ball of the year. He seems to have found a nice home in Colorado. He had a homer and 2 RBIs, leading the way for Colorado, who is 5-6 overall and have won 3 in a row here and looking for a sweep of the Astros this afternoon at 1:10 Mountain Time are the Colorado Rockies, but they're playing good. I mean, I was thinking about this on the ride home from Hugoton yesterday, thinking about the Rockies after seeing them win this game, and I thought, you know, it is amazing. It took all the way until June for the Rockies to win a series. And this team isn't a whole lot different than last year's team. A little bit, a few minor tweaks. But look what those few minor tweaks have done. They've won 2 series here out of their first 4. And it took them all the way until June to win their first series last year. I mean, how bad were the Rockies last year? I mean, horrific. I mean, it puts in perspective how terrible they were, that they could not win a series until June, and this year with just a few minor tweaks, all of a sudden they've got 2 series victories, taking out the Blue Jays on the road, and now have taken 2 out of at least 2 from the Astros. They might lose today, but Astros might salvage a game, but still, nonetheless, Rockies go for a sweep this afternoon. They're at home. As for the Royals, it looked good early. The Royals took a 1-0 lead took over the Cleveland Guardians. It was I want a nickname for Carter Jensen. I'm going to call him Rip Van Winkle or something like that. The guy who falls asleep or fell asleep and missed the alarm and, was supposed to start but didn't start a couple days ago. But Carter Jensen, since that incident, has had a couple of home runs. He hit his 2nd of the season. He went 1 for 3 with that solo shot in the 2nd, and that was the only offense the Royals had all game. They were held to just 1 run on 1 hit. That's all we got, 1 hit. Yes, that's all that they had. But the thing is, pitching was good for Noah Cameron and the Royals staff. I mean, Noah Cameron went 5 2/3, only gave up 1 run on 6 hits, gave up the tying run in the 5th. And then in the bottom of the ninth, Schreiber gave up the winning run as Brian Rocchio had a single to right, and that was able to score the winning run in walk-off fashion for Cleveland. 2-1 the victory for Cleveland over Kansas City, who once again had just 1 run on 1 measly hit. A solo homer from Carter Jensen. Strikeouts were a problem for the Royals. They were K'd up 14 times in that 2-1 loss to the Guardians. The Royals with the same record as the Rockies, 5-6 to begin. The rubber match of this Guardians series is this afternoon. Sorry, it's actually, early afternoon, 12:10 Central Time, which you can listen to on your home for the Royals AM 790 KXXX. So tough one there for the Royals. And let's see. One more quick final stop here on the front page. Shout out to more accolades for Colby Community College track and field after their performances in Emporia this past weekend, as the Jayhawk Conference Athlete of the Week honors were handed out to a couple of Trojans. Randy Jeffrey on the women's side, once again posting the 2nd fastest 400-meter hurdles time in program history. And then on the men's side, Keenan, I think it's Delestre, was recognized for a 3rd place finish in the steeplechase. hitting an NJCAA qualifying mark with that, and his time ranks among the top in the nation this season. And so, once again, Keenan Delestre as well as Randy Jeffrey are your track and field athletes of the week in the Jayhawk Conference from Colby Community College. So there you go. That is the front page from yesterday. Lots of little news and notes to get to. Actually, I have more in our third segment, too. It was just a very newsy day yesterday with lots of things to get to. But we're going to take a break. When we come back, our good friend Nick Athen will hop on the program. We'll be visiting with him next. You're listening to the Morning Blitz.
Hi, folks. Mike Tubbs here for Tubbs & Sons Ford Sales in Colby, Kansas. You know, if you're looking for that used performance truck, you ought to check out the units that we have on the lot at Tubbs & Sons in Colby, like a used 2025 Ford F-150 Raptor with just 2,800 miles. Also at Tubbs & Sons, a Chevrolet ZR2 with just 2,800 miles. You'll find these used performance trucks at Tubbs & Sons Ford Sales right here in Colby, Kansas.
At NextTech Wireless, we built a network for Kansans by Kansans. But just because our roots are here, it doesn't mean your adventures have to be. Take that trip, explore new places, make new memories. You can count on reliable service every step of the way. Bring your number to us to get unlimited data plus a Samsung Galaxy S26 for as low as $25 a month. NextTech Wireless, connecting Kansans for 20 years, wherever life takes you.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning, Jared Law with the Andersons in Overland Park, Kansas with your morning market update. In the overnight session, May corn down 5 at 444 even, July down 5.5, 454.5, September down 6 1/4 at 457 3/4, December down 6 3/4 at 471 1/4. Soybeans on the May down 1.5 pennies, 1156 3/4, July down 2, 1172.5, November down 3.5 at 1147.5. Seaweed on the May down 16.5 at 591, July down 15.5 at 607.5, September down 16 3/4 at 620.5, December down 16 at 640.5. Chicago wheat down 19 at 579. Feeder cattle finished yesterday 368.90, live cattle 248.20, lean hogs 90.77.5. Crude oil futures down $20.44 a barrel at 92.51. Gold up $1.29 at 4,786.70. Silver up 5.62 at 77.45. U.S. dollar index down $1.30, 98.37.5. Dow futures up 1,250 at 48,060. S&P futures up 175 at 6,832.25. If you need to move any cash, grant, or want to talk about risk management, you can reach out to myself, Jared Law, Tom Sliter, Tug Ghost, 913-748-3000. If you're out in Colorado, you can reach out to John Hankey or John Stiles, 970-744-4484.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
Whether you're digging a pond, clearing brush, grading land, or doing demo, Foley Equipment, your local Caterpillar dealer, is your one-stop shop. Buy or rent, Foley Equipment has the machines you need to get the job done. And right now, Foley Equipment has 0% financing with approved credit on new cat skid steers, mini excavators, and compact crack loaders. Stop in today to any Foley Equipment location or visit us at FoleyEQ.com. That's FoleyEQ.com.
At Thrasher Foundation Repair, we promise you an experience so remarkable, you'll want to leave us a 5-star review. From wet basements to bowing walls, sinking concrete to nasty crawl spaces, whatever your home's facing, you can count on Thrasher to fix it right. With over 34,000 5-star reviews and 50 years as a local family-owned company, Thrasher is a name homeowners trust. Schedule your free home inspection today at gothrasher.com.
Thrasher.
Want to be part of the Morning Blitz?
Sometime I'll give you a piece of my mind, like right now.
Send your thoughts to the F&B Bank text line at 785-899-2222.
F&B Bank text line, Brian chiming in, talking about the Rockies, saying, don't sell the team. Yeah, don't sell it. Looking pretty decent, at least early on here for their standards. And Tyler Jones, Goodland Cowboy golf coach, texted me into the show. He says, talking about the Cowboys finished their second place in St. Francis. He goes, that's my JV squad too. Good golfers, just wasted too many shots around the green. So going to happen. Got to learn. It's early in the season. We'll figure it out. Let's welcome to the welcome to the program. Good friend Nick Athen from Chiefs Blitz, who joins us on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. Good morning, amigo. How we doing?
What's up, buddy? What happened to your Nebraska baseball team last night?
Oh, you had to bring that up.
What is up with your coach, Will Hull? I mean, seriously, what a.
From what I heard is that the Kansas dugout was living on the field pretty much most of the time, and that is not legal, from what I've been told. So.
Yeah, they were enthusiastic. Listen, we've been beat up so much by Nebraska in the last 60 years of my life. I think it's good that we broke their winning streak.
Yeah, that's fine. You know,
it's only, just baseball.
It's only one loss. It'll be all right. We'll figure it out. But yeah, that was a great win for Kansas baseball last night. 5-3 over Nebraska. Huskers, that was their first loss at home this year. It's proving time for Nebraska baseball right now. They've got big series against Oregon and USC coming up. So Nebraska's kind of their big time goal is to try and host a regional if they can in college baseball. That's kind of the goal. And if they want to do that, they're going to have to win a couple of these series coming up here down the pipe. Otherwise,
it's Kansas in the same boat. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's that Fitz magic, I think, is there. That Fitzpatrick magic that they like to call it. It's kind of turning around. It's kind of a slower start for KU, but they're finding it here as of late on the dime.
Yep.
Speaking of Kansas, boy, I tell you what, that basketball team and that roster is dismantling by the moment. I mean, Bill Self might have an entirely new basketball team minus maybe Cole Rosario out there on the floor next year.
Yeah, I think Cole's going to stay. I think they're working at some of the. I think Brandon Tiller will be back as well. I think he's just trying to force the hand. Flory looks like, he could end up at Louisville, Texas Tech. I wouldn't rule out him coming back either. It just depends. I mean, the Jayhawks are in on the top recruit, and he's expected to make his decision this week. That'll affect things as well. But I think, it's been interesting at Kansas. Obviously, the Bill Self decision to come back, we haven't talked since then. I honestly thought he was going to retire. I think that they would have.
You were the guy who texted me and said you watch for Bill Self. He'll be gone.
I think they would have hired Tommy Lloyd 100%. I don't think there's any question. I still think when Bill Self retires, Tommy Lloyd's going to probably be the coach at Kansas, regardless of any poison pills they put in his new contract. That was one of the reasons why he talked to North Carolina. Tommy Lloyd, because he really wanted to wait on Kansas. That's why North Carolina had a hard time hiring somebody because the Kansas job is probably the elite job that's going to be available next year. Arizona did a good job with the Tommy Lloyd stuff, but Tommy's their guy, KU's guy. I would be shocked. Well, I won't be shocked, if they can't work something out if Bill decides to retire. But now, look, college basketball has completely changed. Look at what Michigan did. 5 transfers started, first time in NCAA history. Basically, you have to rebuild your roster. If you're a top 25 or a top 30 program every single year, you're going to replace 3 to 5 starters, and that's just the way it's going to be. And these guys are making way too much money. It's completely changed the landscape of the game. And Bill Self has done a really good job of recruiting during this, but he likes freshmen. He's got one of the top freshman classes coming in. If they get Stokes, I'd probably be number 1 on the list. So I think if you're a Kansas fan, I think you have to look at this as, all right, the university said we got to put a lot more money in basketball. And that's something they really haven't done. They spent a lot of money on football. And, even though they paid Darren Peterson, he didn't get elite money. He got pretty good dollar. He got several million, but not what some of these other guys are asking for and getting. So I think it's a new way in Kansas. I think Bill Self made his point to the administration, to the chancellor, to the athletic director, Travis Goff, and said, listen, you want me to stay? Look at whatever all these other teams are doing. I got to have enough money to build a roster every year.
Nick Athen, our guest on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream from Chiefs Blitz, but talking about his Kansas Jayhawks. Where in your mind, because I've read and heard through the grapevine that Kansas basketball, when it comes to NIL dollars, is really not that high up in the grand scheme of things. Where do you think they stand even in the Big 12 nowadays?
I think they're probably somewhere behind Arizona. Texas Tech has a lot of money. They've got number 15 who plays for the Chiefs, who donates quite a bit of money to the university. That helps. I think when you look at the Houston has probably some of the lowest money. How they put a winning program together with the restraints they have financially is remarkable. And that just goes testament to their great head coach. But I think at Kansas, they're not spending the kind of money they need. They lost out on a couple really big recruits last year at this time, just because they couldn't pay him an extra $500,000 here or an extra $750,000 there, which is insane for me to even spit out, because guys used to get cash under the table and get cars, handed to them under the table. And I can tell you a lot of recruiting stories and some of the things that took place the decades past and even before the NIL. But don't mistake, all these kids get paid one way or the other. So I think that Kansas is on the low and mid level, and Bill Self wants it to be top level. So they're going to have a much larger budget. David Booth put in a ton of money, but not all that goes to NIL. I think they shifted some of that money. They scaled back on the stadium design. So there's funds available in which they could be creative. But if I'm going to be honest with you, they need to hire a real general manager like all these other schools are doing. A guy that does the budget, that recruits, that puts together a plan to attract and to work relationships with agents, because right now it's all about negotiating with agents.
Yeah, you kind of get the sense like KU is going to kind of be like a little bit like Duke, where they're going to bring in a really good group of freshmen, or try, at least while Bill Self is there, bring in a really good group of freshmen every single year and try and make it hit. Unfortunately, that's really hard to win deep in the season, because these other teams around them are a lot older across college basketball. So that's a tough thing to do. Nick Athen, our guest here from Chiefs Blitz here on the Morning Blitz on this Wednesday. Let's switch over to baseball for a little bit. How about the what are your thoughts on the Royals' early starts here?
I've been pleasantly surprised by the bottom end of the order. I think that Kyle Osbell I'm not a fan of Kyle Osbell. I never have been, but he's played great. Jonathan's played great at second base. They kind of got a little rhythm there. I mean, Carter Jensen looks like Rookie of the Year candidate.
Rip Van Winkle, you mean?
What's that?
Rip Van Winkle, you mean?
Yeah, Rip Van Winkle. You know what? I think he used that as a motivation, so I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Because I think he's had 2 or 3 home runs since he overslept.
Yes, yeah.
And listen, we've all overslept. We've all missed appointments, and it was made a big deal. And I think Vinny Pasquantino, when he kind of called him out, and I think he did it in a way that, made this kid understand this is not how you work in the show. And I thought it was good, and Carter stepped up, but he's terrific. I think the starting pitching has been good enough. I think the bullpen is going to have some struggles. They missed Harvey. They should have re-signed Harvey. That would have been a good one to keep. But I think, no one in the AL Central is running away with things right now. So no one's off to a really hot start, and that's to a huge benefit of the Royals, who generally start slow in April. Let's be honest. If they're 500 at the end of April, I consider that a win. Usually when the weather heats up, if anybody saw the game yesterday in Cleveland, what was it, 20 degrees or 25 degrees?
Yeah, the heaters were on. Yeah,
it was insane that they were allowed to play that game. But, the Royals are in a tough spot because I think they could have done more in the offseason. They could have got a significant bat for left field. I think they're crossing their fingers that Jack Caglione is going to come out and break out of his shell. Now he's hitting better. He's more patient. He's taking some walks. He's not under 200. He still strikes out too much, but I think he'll get it going as well. And if that happens, then the Royals are going to be okay. Again, I think in the AL Central, they've got a really good chance to win it. If they could just get through the April grind and get into May and just start playing baseball like they're accustomed to, a year and a half ago or 2 years ago when they just kind of heated up once the summer months got there. But I'm not down on them. I'm not too high on them right now. I still think, when you look at the franchise overall, they keep kicking the tires on the stadium thing, and I think that's affected a lot of things. And it's a carryover, and it's this black cloud that's hanging over this organization right now. And I think the players just have to focus, and we'll see how the Royals manage everything here in the next month or two.
Nick Athen, our guest here on the Morning Blitz. All right, let's talk some Chiefs football. What did we learn from Andy Reid during the coaches' meetings down in Southwest America here? So I should say just in Arizona here over the last couple of weeks ago.
Kenneth Walker III is going to get a lot of reps. I firmly believe that the decision to bring back Eric Bieniemy had more to do with fixing the run game than it did was making him the quote unquote offensive coordinator. Andy's still going to call the plays, but I think that they made 3 good decisions in bringing Eric back, adding Chad O'Shea as the wide receiver coach and the running backs coach, whose name is escaping me, from Oklahoma. They brought him in. I think that's going to help this offense. But I think what Andy said, 2 things that stuck out. One was Walker. The other is Xavier Worthy. If you've seen any of the Instagram videos of Xavier Worthy working out, he looks serious. He looks like, okay, I had a busted shoulder. I had a bad knee and leg, and I couldn't explode. I couldn't do the things that I wanted to do. I think this offense, and everybody saw obviously the video of Patrick Mahomes. There's no question Patrick's going to be ready opening day. None whatsoever.
No, there's no doubt.
Yeah, he'll play in probably the last preseason game would be my guess. So I think that when you look at what Andy said was, the offseason sucked. We didn't make the playoffs, but it gave us a chance to really evaluate things, because they didn't have that whole month of January where they were playing football and they were preparing for games. And I think ultimately this will benefit Kansas City in the long run. So I think for Andy, he looks refreshed. He looks excited. But the biggest take, as I said, Kenneth Walker is going to get a lot of opportunity.
When they did this kind of internal reflection, looked inside because they had all this time, what do you think is the biggest thing they learned that they're going to make adjustments to here this year?
I think the biggest thing they learned is they had coaches on the offense that weren't getting their message across, and they weren't teaching. I mean, you had a running backs coach as a wide receiver coach and a wide receiver coach as running. There was a lot of mess, and Andy could only do so much. And I think Matt Nagy could only do so much. And I think the Andy Reid, Matt Nagy thing wasn't working last year at all. I think that was one of the reasons why they were okay with letting him go. But I think the biggest thing that they learned was if we don't pay attention to the detail, if we're not focusing every single game, I mean, the Chiefs are they're hunted, and now they've got to go out and hunt themselves. They've got to play better. They've got to execute better. And I know it's a big word, accountability. And I know Andy's talked about it. I know Eric talked about it. I think the players talked about it. There was nobody in charge last year. And I think Andy was trying to put it all together and do the best that he could. And it just was never right. So I think the attitude was, okay, we got to get better coaches. We got to get guys to understand that this is what they're expected to do. And the one detriment to the Chiefs season last year, besides the injuries, was they didn't trust the younger players. And I think that has to change this year. And I think they have a better coaching staff to be able to make that work.
Chiefs Blitz, Nick Athen, our good friend, joining us on the Hurl Chevrolet Chiefs video stream. Before we let you go, the NFL draft is coming up here in a good 23 weeks, 20 days or so from now. And, for the first time since 2017, KC will pick in the first 10. Where do you think, where are you leaning as we sit here right now? We'll visit before the draft again. Sure. But where are you sitting right here, right now on April the 8th on where you think Kansas City goes with that first pick at number 9?
I know they need defense. I'm all over getting a pass rusher. If Bain falls, they short arms or not, you get the beast. But I think they're looking at wide receiver and possibly tight end. They love Sadiq. I mean, they have spent an enormous amount of time with this kid and how he could fit in the offense. And they're getting input from everybody. A lot of coaches around the country who have played against him, the coaches at Oregon, scouts rave about this kid. Now, I don't know if you take a tight end at number 9, but maybe you trade back with the Rams and pick it at number 12. They want to move up. They could go safety. They could go corner. They could go, virtually any position because they really set themselves up in free agency. Now, they signed a plethora of guys, including Kaiir Elam, the former first-round pick from the Bills. Solid cornerback, but he's just never made it in the NFL yet. So if you're going to ask me today, I think with pick 9 and 29, I think the Chiefs go defensive pass rusher, defensive end, and I think they're going to go wide receiver at the 29th pick. Casey Concepcion is a guy they really like as well. They want a big-bodied receiver, but if Carnell Tate's there at 9, I mean, can you pass that up? I would have a hard time passing to Tate. Tate's the guy. Ultimately, if I was making the decision, 100% Tate's the guy. Get Zion Young at the 29th pick from Missouri to be your pass rusher and call it a draft. I think you're good.
Call it a draft. That's the picks, NFL. We're done.
That's it. We're good.
By the way, for those who don't, it's Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end at Oregon. Is who Nick is talking about, and he is a freak. He is a big guy that can run,
and he's kind of like he could be a wide receiver. He can play the slot. He can do all things. I mean, he's tall, he's lanky. He's going to have to gain some muscle, but he's going to learn under Travis Kelce for a year, and there's no better education but for a tight end than learning under Travis Kelce. Period.
In more ways than one.
Well, there you go. How to marry and find the richest girl on the planet.
Hey, you can't blame a guy that's got.
I can't blame him at all. He shot his shot and he made it.
Once again, Nick Athen, our good friend from Chiefs Blitz. Nick, it's always great to catch up, my friend. Have a great rest of your week. We'll do it again soon before the draft. All right.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, buddy.
Once again, great stuff there from Nick Athen of ChiefsBlitz.com. Check out his stuff on their website. Always great stuff. All right, let's get to our final break. We'll be back with some odds and ends to wrap up the show here on a Wednesday edition of the Morning Blitz.
Are pests making your home or business uncomfortable? Call Pestaway in Goodland, Kansas, serving all of Northwest Kansas. They provide top-notch pest control services to keep your space safe and pest-free. From ants to rodents, termites to spiders, our expert team is here to help with effective, safe, and affordable pest control solutions. Don't wait. Call Pestaway today at 785-728-7166 for fast, reliable service. Your home or business deserves the best protection.
The days are getting longer, the roads are calling, and it's a great time to upgrade your ride at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Right now, get 1.9% APR for 36 months on a 2026 GMC Terrain, the perfect SUV for wherever the road takes you. Need a truck? Take advantage of up to $7,000 in rebates on a 26 GMC Sierra 1500 with eligible trade-in. And for serious capability, get $500 bonus cash on a new 2026 GMC 3500. See the full lineup today at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland or online at hurlchev.com.
Your business was built right here, so was ours. At FNB Bank, we are not run from some distant city. We are run by neighbors, for neighbors. We know what matters to you because it matters to us too. From local decisions to face-to-face service, we are here. Bank local, grow local, stay local. FNB Bank, member FDIC.
Craving something delicious? McDonald's has you covered. From hot, fresh breakfast to juicy burgers and crispy fries, there's something for everyone, any time of day. And don't forget to try our classic McCafe coffee or refreshing McFlurry. Visit us in Colby, Goodland, Burlington, and Lamar for fast, friendly service and the flavors you love. Drive through, dine in, or order ahead on the McDonald's app. We'll have it fresh and ready. McDonald's. I'm loving it.
You can feel it in the air. Longer days, greener lawns, and plenty of projects waiting around the house. Good thing Hoover Lumber A's Hardware in Goodland has you covered. Freshen up your home with Benjamin Moore paint, tackle the yard with powerful Ego battery tools, and give your lawn the boost it needs with Stage 1 Ultimate Fertilizer. Thinking about cooking outside? Check out their great selection of grills, griddles, smokers, and outdoor living essentials. And remember, if you need it, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware probably has it. They eat and have milk. Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your place for just about everything.
From the locker room to your morning commute, it's all sports, all the time.
That's what I'm talking about. Sport!
On the Morning Blitz.
Thank you again to our good friend Nick Athen for joining the show. Always great to catch up with him. Don't forget, folks, coming up a week from this Friday, it is our annual radio auction, NWKS Radio Auction 2026 edition. There's items going up on our website. You go to NWKSradio.net. There's a box on the left side that says Radio Auction. Click on that. It takes you to a list of our, or not a list, but takes you to the items and descriptions of those items currently. Christina getting those up there over the course of each day. I want to give a shout out to, particularly if you're a farmer, if you're in the ag, if you're, with planting season going on, you want to go check out that. There's some really interesting things that are going to be available for the ag side. Whether it be to help especially for helping you get the most out of your acre this year. You want to go to our NWKS Radio Auction website on NWKSradio.net and click around. There are lots of things that can help your operation be more and have you a more efficient year, both in the field, out of the field. So go check that out. A lot of great ag stuff I found this year at for our NWKS Radio Auction. Officer Jared chiming in with another edition of Dear Ross. Okay. Dear Ross, Colorado Rockies win again. My hopes and dreams of an NL West title are gaining momentum. Is it too early? Yes, Jared, it is way too early for that. Congratulations, the Rockies. They are tied for second place in the NL West. That's great, but it is way too early. Once again, credit to them. They've made a few minor tweaks, as I said earlier in the show, and it's resulted in a lot more success here early on, taking 2 out of the first 4 series, but it's way too early. They're not going to win the NL West title because the Dodgers have that locked up. They spent the money to do that. But the Giants have not looked good. The Diamondbacks are hovering around 500. The Padres kind of in the same boat. So who knows? Maybe if things go really well, maybe you can get a wild card spot, Jared. We'll see here. But it is way too early for an NL West title for the Rockies. That's for sure. Okay, a couple more stops here on the Morning Blitz. More news for Kansas basketball about the portal. Jamari McDowell is in the portal. It was announced yesterday. So he is moving on from Kansas. As we mentioned with Nick Athen, probably going to see a lot of freshmen out there on the floor. It's going to look very similar to Duke, like we've seen the last couple of years for John Shire. A very young but very talented team. That's how Bill Self is kind of going. He's kind of avoiding the portal on the drastic end. I said he may have to, if it was anybody else, he'd have to build a whole brand new team through the portal, but he's going to go with those freshmen and a few portal pieces. Nick mentioned it, a big win for Kansas baseball over my Cornhuskers yesterday in Lincoln last night. A 5-3 victory, came from behind to the Jayhawks to get it done. That snaps Nebraska's 15-game home winning streak and gives Nebraska their second loss in their last, 20-plus games. So big win for KU in that midweek clash. And K-State got the best of Wichita State 10-6 last night, too, on the diamond. And also tip of the cap to the Colorado Avalanche. They clinched the Central as well as the top seed in the Western Conference with a 3-1 win over the Blues yesterday. Avalanche 51-16-10 have a better record on the road than they do at Ball Arena at this point in time, but it's the third time in 5 seasons and the first since 2023 the Avalanche finished as the top team in the Western Conference. They did lose in the first round of the playoffs that season, but in 2022 won the Stanley Cup. So we'll see what 2026 holds for Avalanche hockey.
High drive, deep left, grand slam! And back wins his ball. Deep to right. How about a walk-off Gray? Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes flings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
According to Yahoo Sports, the NCAA is considering a significant change to its eligibility rules. They're meeting next week to explore a new age-based standard for athlete eligibility in college athletics. According to the concept, NCAA athletes would have a full 5 years of eligibility from the time of their 19th birthday or high school graduation, whichever is earliest. No waiver requests, red shirts, or exceptions will be permitted, except for a small group of outliers, those on maternity leave, military service, or religious missions. So the 5 for 5 looks to be possibly coming down the pipe. And I just keep thinking about, looking at this era of college athletics with the free movement of players and playing for 6, 7, 8 years and at multiple different schools. And I just kind of look at it like, it's like a time, it's like an era where we're going to look back and be like, what in the world are we doing? What in the world are we doing? It seems so dumb now at this futuristic point to what we were doing then. I feel like we're going to get there at some point in time. It's not going to happen next year or probably the year after that, but we're going to get there. We're going to be like, gosh, that was a dumb time in college sports, and hopefully we're going to get a few things of these wrangled in a little bit. Quickly, F&B Bank text line. Yeah, Officer Sheriff sent a picture of tied for second place for the Rockies. Yes. Also, did you see the news around Tennessee women's basketball? Talk about another program that's in shambles. But Tennessee had a great first season with a new head coach last year, made it to the Sweet 16. This year, she comes in. She has a great recruiting class, great portal class. They go 16-14. They lose the first round. They tournament, and everybody is jumping ship. Everybody. Every player that played for their head coach is jumping ship. Every recruit is jumping ship. Tennessee women's basketball, which is a blue blood, obviously, is in a really bad spot. Pat Summitt's probably rolling over in her grave. See you here tomorrow on the Blitz.
Rocket 1025.